Hello, you're welcome to the successful trade setup. If you've been following me on Twitter, I'm sure you've seen my screenshots on the Crash 1000 trade and how profitable it's been. And I did mention that I was going to share the trade setup and the reason why I took those trades. So I've been on this trade for like a couple of days and I closed it, but I intend to go again because I see that the sell is going to be very long. So this is Crash 1000 on the daily time frame. And I like to look at my charts from really high time frames because higher time frames tend to give us like a clearer picture as to what goes on in the market. We know the market's direction, and then we're able to like use smaller time frames to take our entries. So if you see here, you can already confirm that price is in a confirmed downtrend on the daily chart. So I have my trend line drawn perfectly here, and okay, great. So you know the drill when it comes to trend lines, right? You you put you see that we have a point one here and then we have a point two here. So the trend line has touched the market at like 2 points, right? And then it's almost touched it here for the third time. Okay, let's just say counts and touched tested market here for the third time, right? So this was not, I didn't take the trade when it was at this point though, but I'm just showing you just in case you have an opportunity like this next time. You know that when we have the trend line touch the market at 2 points, we already have a trend direction. So we know that in this case, price is going down. So we're looking for opportunities for price to go up so we can sell. So we have point one and point two right here. And then when price dropped, came back up to test the trend line for the third time, and that's the point to take our entry. So we literally just wait for the candlestick very close to the trend line to be done forming. So when it's done forming, we see, in this case, we see that the market's price was rejected here. The trend line was so strong, price was rejected here, and we had this bearish candle formation, right? So we could have easily comfortably sold from after the forming of this candle, right? You can see that if you are taking a sell from here, price literally sold all the way to this point, so it would have been a lot of money. So but that's fine. I also missed this. Actually, I wasn't around the market when all of these things were happening, but I still got another opportunity to get in, and I still made my money out of it. So I'm going to show you why I took the trade I took for the last one you saw me post on my Twitter. Okay, not the last one though, but I took this trade since last week. I took a sell. I started selling Crash 1000 since last week, and it's been nothing but profits since I got in. So this area that I just highlighted is my supply zone. Yeah, I trade pure price action, the demand and supply alongside my trend lines, chart patterns. Also getting to read my candlesticks. So it has totally helped me. So I just highlighted my supply zone right here, and you can see how price tested the supply zone, also testing the trend line, respecting the trend line, and still bouncing back down. So price got into the supply zone. We had this bullish candle take price up to the supply zone, and then we had a dodgy candle that formed thereafter. And after this dodgy candle formed, we had a bearish candle confirming to us that price is going to sell. So I would like to highlight the beginning of my supply zone here. So the moment price got into the supply zone, I didn't just go about selling. I had to wait for extra confirmation, although I already had enough confirmation after the formation of the doji and this bearish candle. But I like to use smaller time frames as well for extra confirmation. So I go to the H4 to see the factor that took price to that supply. So we can see that firstly we had this. See, from this point, price moved up and tested the daily supply for the first time, because my supply zone on the daily is highlighted with this horizontal line here. So you can see the price got to the supply zone for the first time here, and then after that point, we see how price broke out of that structure, came to the downside. So price has already respected the fact that there was a supply zone here, and it has broken this zone that took price up to the supply zone in the first place. So that's like already a Q. That's all. It's good to go for a sell. So we can check out other structures that moved price back up into the supply zone and see what happened when price tested at those points again. So we see this other point serving as a demand zone, We can see how price also broke out of its demand zone to the downside. So we already have like great proof that our daily supply is really strong, and it keeps pushing price back to the downside. So we would have had a very beautiful sell. We did have a very beautiful sell actually, and I didn't miss it at all. So when I got that confirmation, I knew that was great to sell. So I literally sold until price got here. So that was not the only reason why I sold. You can see here from these daily charts, you can see the formation of this candle. So you can see the formation of these candles. You see that I'll pick up my brush tool. You see that right here we have a double top formation. I like to call it an M. So this is a double top formation. This is the first top, and this is the second top, right? And in this case, when we have double top formation, we look out for the neckline. In this case, it's here. We look out for the neckline and we wait for price to break out of this neckline, come back up to retest the neckline, and then sell some more. So it's just like this. Um, just like this. First top, second top, yeah, neckline. So price breaks out of the neckline, comes back up to retest, and then we know that we have a very amazing sell. And this is on the daily chart, so of course the sell is going to be super long. So crash is going to keep crashing, and we're going to keep making loads of money from it. So I'll just erase this so it's clear enough for us to see. So apart from that, if we go to the H4 time frame, I think there's also something interesting in the H4 time frame. So of course, we know that overall price has been on a very interesting downtrend, right? So if we go on the H4 time frame, we see how price also gave us another downtrend. So you see the trend line tested price here for the first time, tested it here again for the second time, tested it here again for the third time. So imagine if you were trading based on just this trend line and you had seen point 1 and point 2, of course, we know just marks out the trend for us. So we know that with point 1 and point 2, we know that we are in a downtrend, even though we knew we're in a downtrend days before now. So point 1 and point 2 has given us a confirmation that we're in a downtrend, and then wait for price to drop, come back again to test the trend line for the third time. So imagine if you had sold just because price tested the trend line for the third time and respected it. So price came up here, and then the next candle that formed after that bullish candle that took price up to the trend line respected the trend line, and we had a pullback. It didn't dare to break it. It just pulled back, respecting that downtrend. So you could have successfully sold from this point here. You could have successfully sold after the formation of this bearish candle. Interesting sell all the way to this point. So there have been a lot of money without stress. So apart from that, I also another reason why I took my sell yesterday that gave me that much profit, I shared on my Twitter feed. So we have here. Okay, no, this is for today. Actually, this is for the trade today. So we have here as a supply zone that has been marked out, right? So as usual, I'll just put my horizontal line to mark the beginning of that zone, right? Because I'm marking this because I want to see whatever factor that took price to this supply zone. So I move to M15 time frame, see what's going on there. Okay, so yeah, great. So this is the M15 time frame, and this is the supply zone, the beginning of supply zone on H4. But let me just cross check just to be sure. Okay, great. Pulling up the dates. Yes, that's it. Great. So here is the beginning of our H4 supply zone, just right here. The one shaded in blue is the it's still part of the supply zone. Yeah, so I think I have to totally mark it out so that we don't miss it. Yes, that's it. Great. So pull back up to M15. See what we have here. So I'm taking note of whatever took price up to that point, right? I'm taking note of I'm taking note of what happened here, right? How we had a bearish candle formed just at the beginning of that supply zone, and then we had these two bullish candles that pushed price into the supply zone, right? I'm taking note of another structure here, right? I'll just put this over the previous one that I drew. Yeah. I'm taking note of the structure here. Great. Um, I'd also take note of this one. So take note of this one. Okay, so there's something very common with all of these points. I'd also highlight this point here because it's very vital. Great. So these are things that pushed price up into the supply zone. So we have this demand, but we see that when price got into the supply zone, it came back down and broke out of this structure that pulled price into the supply zone. So this is already like a red flag, a flag saying supply zone on the H4 time frame is super strong. So price kept on going up. But you see that when price got into that supply zone fully, it kept on coming back down to break these structures, pulling it up into the supply zone. So we had a lot of things, a lot of factors telling us that price was going to come crashing. So we have here, it broke out here against the downside. It broke out here against the downside. It just kept on breaking, and price broke up to this point. It broke up to this point, right? So we are totally expecting it to keep coming down. I mean, I expect it to keep coming down though. So pull back up to H4, back to H4. Great, 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 great. So we'll see how supply zone is still being respected, right? Although there is a zone here that is responsible for pulling price back up to this area. So this was what's from this point, price tested this zone and pulled price to the supply zone for the first time, right? So it all began from this point actually. It all began from this point. But to see that the other minor structures that have been formed in the M15 timeframes have been broken and price keeps crashing down. But the major thing I like to look at, the major thing that gives me hope knowing that price is going to drop is the fact that from the daily charts, I see a very interesting down movement. I see crashing like for days or even weeks because of a very strong and solid pattern that has been formed here, and that is the double top pattern. The fact that we have the price has totally broken out of the neckline, we tested it, and it's likely going to come back down again. So, you know, we have more proof, but I'm out of the market for now. So I think it will be totally safe for me to get in again when price breaks out of this area. I'll just show you. When price breaks out of this area here, that took it into the supply zone for the first time. So imagine if we have price breaking out of this zone here. So we expect it to give us a retest and then we'll probably sell again some more, right? That's a very great possibility. So another thing we need to take note of is the fact that we do have here as a support area, right? A couple times price retested this zone and kept on going back up. But we see that this support area has been broken. And we know what happens when a support area has been broken. When it breaks, price goes back up to test that support zone, serving as what? A resistance in this case. So, and in this case, we're expecting price to totally respect the fact that support has been broken. Price is going back into that same support structure to serve as a resistance. So we expect it to drop. Expect it to drop. But we'll be even more convinced when it breaks out of this point completely. And then we know that we have a better opportunity to sell again. So I've just given you like hints as to how to take your next sell on Crash 1000. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I've given you that for free. So that's that about Crash. I share these setups on my channel, so feel free to join my Telegram channel. I have a free Telegram channel, so if you hit the link in my Twitter bio, you would see my Telegram channel. You can just join it for free. I do have a premium channel as well, but the free channel does it as well. I send like really strong signals. So also feel free to subscribe to my YouTube because I would be dropping more videos, more setups. When I take a trade and it turns out really right, I'll be happy to share the setup with you. So feel free to follow me for these updates. So yeah, that's it. Also, you could drop comments, questions on the comment section. Just let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be totally happy to help you out. Thank you.